Okay, Newton, we want to first of all welcome you to the state contest and congratulate you on advancing to this level. And we wish you the best of luck. A few procedural things before we get started. Can everybody see the clock? Yes. Okay. You won't be provided any warnings on time because you've got the clock right there. You have your cards in front of you. You also have Post-it notes, and then Mr. Chairperson, you have paper up there. You're free to write on the cards. You're free to write on any of the papers on there. And you can write on the papers on your podium there. But anything you have written down, you have to leave before you, or when you're done with your demonstration, you have to leave it here. Okay? All right. We'll give you your 1 minute to look at your cards. You're not allowed to talk during that time. And then, Mr. Chairman, you can start your meeting when that time is over. So, okay, you can start your 1 minute now. All right, Mr. Chairman, you can start whenever you're ready.
The meeting here will come to order. We are now holding a meeting of the Newton FFA chapter. Mr. Vice President, are all the officers at their stations?
I will now call the roll of officers to determine if they are at their stations and report back to you, Mr. President. The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there?
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty that the door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and the paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people. In order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The treasurer.
Stationed at the emblem of Washington.
Your duties there?
I keep record of receipts and disbursements just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among members and strive to build up our financial standing through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties there?
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I am asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice is always based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is the symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in the directing of the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the President so stationed?
The rising sun is a token of the new era of agriculture. If we will follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Mr. President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are 7 members and numerous guests present, Mr. President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here?
To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess.
May we accomplish our purposes, I now declare this meeting of the Newton FFA chapter duly open for the transaction of business and attention to any matters that may properly be presented. Is there any new business?
Mr. President,
Avery?
I move that the Newton FFA sponsor a family farm-to-fork dinner for FFA members and their families this fall.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that the Newton FFA sponsor a family farm-to-fork dinner for FFA members and their families this fall. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Avery?
I think that we should host this dinner because I feel like it would be a great way to get our families involved in the FFA. And I also believe that this would be a great learning experience and a way to get recognition for the farmers in our area that supply our food.
Mr. President,
Audrey?
I agree with Avery. I think that this would be a wonderful way to get families to just come together, and I think everybody would just have a great time because you're with family and you have food, and everybody loves that. And I think this would just be a great way to get our FFA and their families involved.
Mr. President,
Lauren?
I also agree. My family kind of lives a little ways away, and they don't really get to see what I love and do with FFA, and this will kind of show them the love and support I get and just what I love to do. And also, the fall will be during harvest season. It'd be a great way to get our farmers out and feed them during the evening.
Mr.
President.
President,
Nathan?
I do not agree with this, Van, because I feel like fall, like she said, we are harvesting. I feel like we'd be too busy fitting in with everyone's schedules. I just don't feel like we'd have enough workers with all farming going on to work this.
Mr. President.
Morley?
Mr. President, I agree with Nathan and what he said. We are so busy with harvesting at this time, and it's FFA, so lots of us will be in the field. We're also, a lot of us members are involved in the football program, and I just don't think many people will join, and it would be a waste of time and money.
Mr. President,
Aaron?
I agree with Nathan and Marley. Although I do like the idea of this motion, I do not see that we could get enough workers or have the time to do this.
Mr. President,
Audrey?
I move to amend this main motion by striking out fall and inserting summer.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we strike out this fall and add this summer. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Audrey?
after hearing Marley, Nathan, and Aaron's thoughts on the main motion, I realized that summer would be a less busy time for our farmers, and it would be better weather. And I think everybody could just enjoy a nice meal outside, and I really think it would just be a lot of fun for everybody and a really great event.
Mr. President.
Morley?
I agree with what Audrey said here. We are not as busy in the fall, or excuse me, in the summertime to do this. I think this would be a great idea now because we'll just have a fun time, and we can do some more summer activities while we're there.
Mr. President.
Aaron?
Although I do find this is an interesting idea, I think that this is more centered around the grain farms. In livestock farms, we do a lot of hay cutting around the summer, and most kids would not want to come in just to have a meal.
Mr. President,
Aaron? Or Avery?
I disagree with this motion to amend, and I think that we should vote this amendment down because I believe that the main purpose of this was to feed the harvesters during the summer, and that I really just feel like that we're not overall as a group that busy during the fall.
Mr. President,
Nathan?
I agree with Aaron. I feel like in livestock farming, we're still just as busy, and it'll be hotter, and not as many people would want to come if it's real hot outside. In the fall, it's nice and cool. They would like to come, enjoy, and just have fun.
Mr. President,
Lauren?
I agree with these fellow members, and I think this summer it would be very hot, and if we had it outside, it'd be kind of miserable for everybody. And plus, a lot of our members are in 4-H, which would interfere a lot. And we also have a Bex Day that we have to work, so I just don't think that this would all work out, and I think a lot of things would interfere during the summer.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment? The question now states that the Newton FFA sponsor a family farm to fork dinner for FFA members and their family this summer. We will now come to a vote. All those in favor of this amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
No.
The noes have it.
I call for division assembly.
Division has been called. We will now take a rising vote to count all the votes. All those in favor of this amendment, please rise. You may be seated. All those opposed to this amendment, please rise. You may be seated. The vote reads 2-4. This motion fails. Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
Mr. President,
Nathan?
I move to refer this to a committee with the advisor, secretary, and reporter.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we refer this to a committee of 3 of the advisor, secretary, and reporter. Is there any discussion?
Mr.
Mr.
President.
President,
Nathan?
I feel like it's a good idea because I feel like not everyone needs to work on this. It's something that just a little group could do, and not have everyone else can work on different motions not this one thing.
Mr. President,
Marley?
I disagree with Nathan here. If we're gonna feed all of the FFA members and their families, and we're gonna host this whole thing, I think that this should be a whole officer thing instead of just a group of 3.
Mr. President,
Avery?
I disagree with this because I believe that this could be a major learning experience for all the families. And I feel like if we're just having a committee of just 3 people working on this, then we're not going to have as diverse learning experience as we would have with the whole assembly.
Mr. President,
Audrey?
I disagree with Nathan because I think that would be way too much work to just put on 3 people who have other stuff going on right now as well. And I think the more people we have working on this project, the better, because then it will just turn out into a better event and we'll have everything better organized and it will just run a lot smoother.
Mr. President,
Aaron?
I believe that this is much too complicated for just 3 people to discuss. I think that all people should be involved, that way all people's concerns may be heard.
Mr. President,
Lauren?
I agree with Aaron. This is kind of a big event for us, and we need to make it really good for our farmers since we are representing them. And there are a lot of things that need to be done, like people in the kitchen, people working tables, and if there's money involved, we need lots of people taking care of money. And I just think that 3 people wouldn't be able to hold this over.
Is there any further discussion on referring to a committee of 3? There is no further discussion, we will come to a vote. All those in favor of referring to a committee, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
No.
The noes have it and the motion fails. Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
Mr. President,
Aaron?
I call for a recess of 3 minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we have a recess of 3 minutes. All those in favor of this, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
No.
The noes have it, the motion fails. Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
Mr.
President,
Avery?
I still believe that we should vote up in favor of this main motion because I still believe that it would be a great way for us to get together and just relax, have a good time while still learning something.
Mr. President,
Marley?
like I said, Assembly, I just don't know if this would be a great idea. I don't know if we would have a good turnout. We're so busy, the grain farmers are so busy in the fall. I just don't think that us devoting this time and money would be well spent.
Mr. President,
Lauren?
I love this motion, and I think the Assembly should really vote up. And I think it would be a really excellent fundraiser. And I know the farmers love what we do and would be willing to help us out. And it would kind of help them come in after, and we could feed them. And I just think that my family would love to see what I love doing.
Mr. President,
Nathan?
I agree with Marley. I still feel like we'd just be too busy in the fall with farming and stuff. We don't have enough workers to come. So I urge the Assembly to vote down on this motion.
Is there any further discussion on the main motion? If there's no further discussion, we will come to a vote. All those in favor of this main motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed to this main motion, please say no.
No.
The ayes have it, the motion passes. Madam Secretary, do you have any record of any business that has not been properly transacted at this time?
I have none, Mr. President.
Does any member or guest know of any unfinished business that has not been properly transacted at this time? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the Newton FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. FFA members and guests, join me in a salute to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now declare this meeting adjourned.
Okay, Newton, we're going to go ahead and get started with your oral questions. Just a reminder that these questions are individualized, so you and you alone need to answer them, okay? We're going to start with your Vice President. The required motion you were asked to demonstrate was the recess. In the form that you presented this motion in your meeting, is the motion to take a recess debatable or amendable?
It is not debatable, but is amendable.
Are there any circumstances in which the recess is debatable?
No.
Okay. For the reporter, division of the assembly. When you as a member called for a division of the assembly, you're requiring the chairperson to do what?
Recount with a standing vote.
Under what circumstances can the chair deny your request to call for a division?
after the vote has been called.
For the secretary, no required motion, but in a business meeting, what are minutes?
Those are the things that I record that has happened in the meeting.
Okay? And as you said, you prepare those minutes. What happens to them after this meeting then?
I will say them. I will re-say them at the next meeting.
Okay? And for the treasurer, the amendment, what's the difference between a first and a second degree amendment?
First degree amendment is amending the main motion, and a second degree amendment is stacked on top of a first degree amendment, amending the first degree amendment.
And if you have a main motion, a first degree, and a second degree amendment on the floor, all pending at the same time, what order are those motions voted upon?
The second degree amendment will be voted on first, then the first degree amendment, and then the main motion.
Okay? And for the sentinel, refer to a committee. In making that motion, you can't simply state, I move that we refer this to a committee. You have to provide additional details. Give me an example of details you have to provide in that motion.
Who's all going to be in the committee? That are-
Okay? What is a standing committee?
That's when, after they are working on it and when they are doing it and not in the meeting.
Okay? And for the student advisor, your team demonstrated an amendment and a referral. In the order of precedence, what is the motion immediately above those two motions? And what is the motion immediately below them in the order of precedence?
Above is lay on the table, and below is postpone indefinitely.
Okay? For the chairperson, when do you vote as chairperson?
Only to break a tie.
Any other circumstances?
No.
Okay? And when would you be able to debate a motion?
When the quorum is not totally present.
Okay. All right, nice job, Newton. Leave your papers at your stations and then you're free to leave.
Thank you, sir.